my lunch is very important. I want lunch to feel relaxing and yummy and satisfying. So we're going to talk about that.
Hi, I'm Meg. Welcome to Plant Fit Meg.
Hi, I'm Meg's husband, Chris.
So today we thought we'd do a little video talking about kids' lunches. We have a 5-year-old.
He's a beast.
Yes. He eats a lot. He is vegan. He is plant-based like we are. And we try to keep his school lunches as whole food plant-based as possible. We don't typically send processed foods really at all. So we thought it'd be fun to do a little video just explaining a little bit about what we send to school for him and just some tips.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This message is for any parents out there. I always get the impression that you see a lot of these videos where it's the mom preparing a nice little meal for the children before they all go to school. Dad likes doing that stuff too. If your dads, your moms, you're both moms, dads, whatever, doesn't matter. This can be awesome, guys, and it's just keeping it real simple.
Yeah, and also this video is not just for people who are vegan and or whole food plant-based. This is for anyone looking to maybe bump up the veggies, the fruit content in their kiddos' lunches or in your own lunches even.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that are kind of transitioning to a more plant-based food diet, so good ways to kind of make little steps as you go.
Yeah, and so that's a good point to start with, is just making gradual change. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing that you build up and make it into much bigger than it needs to be. You can make one tiny change and continue making one tiny change over time, and that creates a big change over time.
Yeah, what we've found is, to what Meg is speaking, sometimes if you go full hog, like you just, that's a weird turn of phrase in a video for plant-based eaters, but when you really switch it all at once, it can almost have a negative effect. You know, the kids, they get a little overwhelmed, or even for yourself, if you're trying to get a bit more veg in, it can be like, oh man, I miss all those other things, and they're all gone all at once. And we're going to talk a little bit about ways to make it more seamless and a little bit smoother, so nobody's feeling a jarred sensation in their lunch, which is, you know, my lunch is very important. I want lunch to feel relaxing and yummy and satisfying, so we're going to talk about that. Another big tip that we want to put out there is, when you're gearing up to go back to school after the summer, or your children are going to school for the first time, trying to get an idea of what the school schedule looks like, and slowly introducing your child to those things, like different meal times or different snack times, and somewhat limiting them on how long they have to eat is also a really good tip, just so that your child gets used to that kind of structure. I know for our guy, like I said, he's 5, very little. It can be a difficult adjustment for him to go from a grazing mentality, like just kind of eating whenever he's hungry throughout the course of the day, which is awesome, and we allow it when he's home, but going back to school and kind of it being more structured meal times. And especially now with everything going on with the pandemic, there are different rules and regulations at our school, and I'm sure at a lot of schools out there, so they aren't able to just stop and eat whenever they'd like. They have their appropriate meal times, and they have to eat their food during those specific times. So yeah, preparing them for that is really helpful. Do a dry run. We packed up his lunchbox, and he helped us. He helped us choose what he would like, and we had fun filling it together and everything. And now he's over at Grandma and Grandpa's, hanging out. Great, and it's like a dry run.
Yeah, so we'll see how much of it he ate, how much of it he didn't, what he enjoyed, what he didn't. And the
whole backpack routine was part of it, to be honest. Like the backpack, the lunch bag, everything went. And we always make a point to send the little guy with a water bottle too, right? Yeah. So obviously, generally speaking, water fountains are available for kids at school. But again, back to the whole pandemic thing, our school in particular has a restriction where water fountains aren't available for the children anymore. So really important that you make sure they have something that they can drink throughout the course of the day. Obviously, water should be number one choice, just in terms of getting the goodness in the body and keeping them hydrated.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So we'd also recommend trying to get your kids as involved as possible in the process. So whether that be shopping with you and picking things out at the shop or the market or however you're doing your shopping. I know with coronavirus that can be more challenging depending on where you are. But if you can get them more involved with picking the foods, maybe even making lists with you of different ideas that you can check out in the shops. And then also in terms of prepping food and putting it together. So if they're too little to chop veggies, for example, you do the chopping and then they put things in the lunchbox themselves.
Yeah, our kiddo's 5, so he's really little. So if you can involve them and really take their suggestions whenever possible, right? To say, oh, hey, bud, that sounds like a great idea. How many do you want to pick? These sorts of things, it kind of gets them a little bit more engaged and a little bit more excited about what's going into their lunchbox, whatever you use. And we find that just by kind of creating that inclusion and excitement surrounding their upcoming lunch meal, they're much more, or our little guy anyway, is far more likely to want to eat it all or really, enjoy it. And that's important.
Yeah, he gets more excited about it when he's more involved and he has more ownership over it, and when he feels like he has more to say in the decision-making process of what's actually in his lunch. We have those conversations very regularly, and we try to keep them as involved as possible. Yeah,
for sure. Guys, don't put pressure on yourselves. Like, if you're not a morning person, I don't know, some people look at me and assume I'm not a morning person, and you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I don't function. I need like 5 cups of coffee to get going. Do it the night before, or if you are a morning person and your life allows for a little bit of time in the morning, make sure that you include the kiddos. But for me in particular, when I love to be involved in this, I try to do it the night before. At least start having that conversation, like, hey pal, what do you think about apple or orange slices tomorrow, or cucumber rounds or carrot rounds? Like Meg was saying, give them the options, give them a little bit. You want to guide them, but you also want to give them that freedom to make their own choice.
Yeah, and even something as simple as you have potatoes in the house, you're going to cook them up, and just choosing a new shape. So maybe chopping them into rounds or doing fries or just mixing it up to keep it a little fresh.
Yeah. So I would say, generally speaking, we focus on, like, we have a lunch box, like we'll attach photos for everybody to see, but we have a lunch box that has different compartments in it that we typically do raw veg and fruit and these sorts of things. Now, every school, like Meg mentioned earlier, has some restrictions on what you can send with your children in terms of allergies and other safety protocols. So make sure you follow those guidelines. But we really try to kind of give a good variety. So in an average morning or afternoon when we're making a lunch up, we usually have carrot sticks, cucumbers, celery sticks. Other good options are apples, oranges, things like that. Berries, grapes.
Yeah. Our little one loves berries, loves grapes. He loves apple slices, and sometimes I'll just sprinkle a little cinnamon on top to jazz it up, and he gets really excited about that. If you can show enthusiasm about the food and you enjoy the same types of foods, and your child sees you eating the same things and you model that behavior, that can be super helpful too, to get them more engaged and excited about it. Yeah,
I've heard from some parents through my work and things that their kids are a little bit particular when apple slices in particular, when they get a little brown looking at kind of midday. Meg mentioned a great option, guys. Put some cinnamon on there. They're going to love, first of all, that there's cinnamon on it. And secondly, at mass, that if you do have little eaters that are kind of a little bit more particular about their food.
Yeah, lemon juice also will help too. So if you chop up your apple slices in the morning and just squirt a little bit of lemon juice over the top, that'll keep them fresher longer, and it'll reduce the oxidization.
So other things that we typically put in with those raw veggies and fruits, we like to kind of include some sort of dip. So Riordan's a big fan of, Riordan's our kiddo, sorry. He's a big fan of having hummus. We do a lot of homemade hummus, mainly because we don't eat oils and salts. But of course, you can buy hummus at pretty much any market ever. So that's a really good option, and it doesn't have those common allergens that you see with different schools' restrictions.
Yeah, so at our school particularly, the kiddos are not allowed to bring tahini. They're not allowed to bring sesame seeds. So if you're buying a store-bought hummus, typically it will have tahini in it. So when we make it at home for Riordan to take to school, we make a point to not include the tahini because he's not allowed to bring it.
Other really good options for dips, guys. We use sun butter, which is one that most schools allow. What is it? Guacamole. That word, it always escapes me. Everybody loves guacamole.
So
most
good.
are too lazy to say guacamole. They say, hey, I'd like some guac. Guacamole is a great option. It's really good for the little guys. There's a lot of healthy fats in there. We use those. I guess those are kind of the main ones.
Yeah, ketchup.
Really.
Our kiddo really likes ketchup
Barbecue
for fries.
sauces. Yeah, those ones are real easy. Again, there's some really great options out there if you want SOS free, like salt, oil, sugars free, these sorts of things, or making your own.
Yeah, and also at his school, they have 2 what they call nutrition breaks. So it's essentially 2 snack times or lunch times. So we do send him with a lunchbox, but we also do send him with a thermos as well. So I guess we'll finish with the lunchbox talk first and then get into the thermos. So other things that we do include in the lunchbox besides raw fruit and veggies, and we mentioned the cooked potatoes. We also include roasted chickpeas sometimes, or some baked tofu. What else? Dried fruit.
Yeah, dried fruit. That's a big win, right? For those little guys, they love it because it's so sweet. So we do figs, we do raisins, we do dates. Really, really fun options, and it kind of acts almost like a little dessert thing if your child has that mentality, or you present that mentality of like, oh man, these are so sweet and so yummy, try one right now. That way they get excited for having that special kind of sweet treat at the end of the meal. Yeah, I think that's the majority of what we try to do. And again, very important, keep it real simple, guys. Like, keep it easy on yourselves. We all know how busy everybody can be. A lot of people are working full-time jobs or whatever your lifestyle is, and it can be a challenge. So keep it simple, keep it fun, try to include the little ones. And do what works for you. These are things that we have done, and this is what has worked for us with our family. And I would say just take whatever resonates with you and what seems to make sense, and try what might work in your household. But if there are certain tips or certain suggestions we're making that you're not keen on, then obviously don't opt out.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So as Meg mentioned, we do a thermos as well, because the kids at our school anyway, they have 2 different food breaks, nutrition breaks. So when we do the thermos, I mean, honestly, in the sake of keeping it simple, we do leftovers almost always. So, the night before we've had soup or chili or like a pasta. We do whole grain pastas in our house, these sorts of things. And we have recipes available if you guys want help out on those things. But we usually just carry those into the thermos for the next day. Yeah,
we'll have recipes linked below if you're interested. The other thing is Riordan really likes to have oatmeal. So it might seem kind of an odd thing to send, but he really enjoys it. So if you just whip up some oatmeal in the morning and put it in the thermos, it stays nice and warm. Chuck whatever fruit they like on top. Berries are popular in our household.
Berries, bananas, apples. We do like shredded carrots sometimes, these sorts of things in oatmeal, and Ryer is a big fan. We also got this new thing, which is really funny. It's a banana case. I don't know if you guys have seen these things, but they're hilarious. It's like a helmet for your banana.
So it's a case for your banana to protect your banana from getting bruised or moshed in your bag. And I think it's brilliant. It's pretty silly, but it's also brilliant. So we're going to try that out and see how that works.
It was like a few bucks we have a local shop that does like outdoor gear. They're called Trailhead. Anyway, I think it was like $5, something like this. And it's like a plastic tube thing.
We'll insert photos.
You kind of have to see it. Yeah, so like we said, keep it real simple.
Yeah, keeping it simple is definitely a good one to keep in mind for sure. Don't overcomplicate it. Another thing that I used to get kind of stressed out about is if he didn't finish all of his lunch and he came home and there was still some food left in his lunchbox. And initially I'd be kind of nervous. Oh, maybe he's not getting enough
you would have
fuel
those
during the
moments.
day. But kids are really smart, right? And their teachers are reminding them to eat their food and to enjoy their food at the appropriate times. And, you know, they'll eat when they're hungry.
Yeah.
They'll stop when they're full.
Yeah.
They won't starve.
Yeah.
If they get home from school and they're really, really hungry, then they can have a snack when they get home.
Yeah.
And Riordan's even finished his lunch kit at home at the end of the day too sometimes.
Yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal. And I mean, there's going to be days where they're going to feel, or you're going to feel like they ate a ton. Like, you know, he clears the thermos, clears the whole lunchbox, the banana case is empty. Like, it's a whole thing. Everything is totally wiped out. And other days, like Meg's saying, they're lighter days, and it's all normal.
That's okay.
You know, if you're relatively new to your kids going to school, it's just how it goes. Yeah.
All right, so like we mentioned before, we will have some recipes linked below that we mentioned in the video, so you can go check those out if you're interested. And let us know if you have any questions or comments or other tips and ideas that maybe worked for you that you think might work for us.
Yeah, we'll make sure to get them shared out there with anybody else that's on the site or on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, so if you'd like to see more from us, subscribe below and check out the website, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.